Hello, we're having technical difficulties. Oh, I see it. Okay, let's hope this one works. So I'm waiting for Beth to join me back. We're going to see if this works now. Don't know.
So sorry.
It's so funny. I was just checking to see if like all kinds of Wi-Fi was working, you know, in
Hmm.
the rest, and it's like all Wi-Fi is off. I'm the only one using Wi-Fi, so I have no idea what's going
Who
on.
knows?
Anyway,
The
um,
machines are in charge.
right, exactly. I mean, hi Matthew S. How are you? My goodness, have you been? Um, so I am turning off the commenting, the requests to go live again. I'm having a conversation, part two, with Beth McKee, and we are talking about somatic healing and lipedema and all that good stuff. So her, yeah, her dossier or bio is in our post about today. So check out all those links and things like that as well. Okay, so here you are. We got to the point where okay, you've gone through the divorce. You're going through somatic healing for yourself as well as training to
Right,
be a practitioner, and
right.
you're at the height of the lipedema. The pain is not necessarily any better because all the emotional work is so heavy,
No,
and
it's getting worse.
yeah, cortisol is coursing through your veins,
Yes.
and so now, then what?
And then about a year ago, I decided out to my community for help, and I raised money for my first surgery. And that was an emotional journey
Yeah,
right there because sometimes we don't realize when we ask for help that we might actually receive.
we
Um,
might get
so, yeah, that was a big part of my journey was asking and receiving. Um, yeah, and so I had the first surgery in November, and then where I had my lower legs done, and that's when I started this Instagram to like kind of show people my before and after. But that first surgery was just miraculous and so validating to have, just to have the support of people, a lot of people that donated to my fundraiser, people I didn't even know. But they
Mhm.
just, they're people that I know. I run a choreography festival, so people know
Mhm.
my name from my choreography festival. So a lot
Yeah,
of dance people who I'm connected with on social media, just because we're all part of the dance world,
yeah,
donated to my fundraiser. So it just is so incredibly validating where you're told you don't look like a dancer, you can't be a rockette, or you
yeah,
don't, you don't, for me, I completely lost my ability to dance and my ability to be a dancer in the dance world the way I had trained to my entire life.
yeah,
So, it just was really an incredible journey. And um, the first thing after my first, when I woke up from my first surgery, I realized my feet didn't hurt and I was able to point my feet again for the first time in 5 years. So it was just really miraculous. And I've continued with that, and I have my third surgery coming up on Tuesday.
that's
So,
amazing. Right, so
yeah,
you had the thighs done, right, in what
I
was
had
that, January?
the end of
Okay.
February,
Right,
I
so that
had
was like right before lockdown, like a
right
month,
before
like a
lockdown.
month in. Right.
Right. And then I've had this surgery scheduled for a while. I was actually supposed to go down south for my choreography festival, but that, of course, was canceled with
Mm,
COVID. So I've
mm,
had this one scheduled for a while, and they just a couple weeks ago opened back up. My doctor's Dr. Bird in Georgia.
mm,
So just a couple weeks ago, they opened back up and said, "Do you still want your date
back.
in June?" And I said, yes. So I'll be going down there next
And,
week,
and that's Tuesday?
Tuesday, and I'll be having, I had, I think they took 6.5 liters off my lower
Uh-huh.
legs. They took
Okay.
8 liters off the front of my thighs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so now the back of my thighs is next.
And
And
each
this,
each liter, doesn't each liter correspond to like 2 pounds or something like that?
I haven't lost any weight.
Okay. Well,
I've been
you
a
know,
I've been a lot more active since I've had those first two surgeries. I
yeah.
can move, I can walk, I can exercise a lot more. I can lift weights, and I'm doing all the things. I'm doing
Uh-huh.
many, many more things than I was doing before surgery. But they said that the fat is very light, and it's like taking bags of feathers off of you. It's, I
Really?
don't understand how that works, but I haven't really lost any weight. I'm still at about the same weight, even though I've had 15 liters of fat and fluid taken off of my legs. But they feel
I
amazing.
mean, there is the aspect that are still, you're really still inflamed, and really you don't get uninflamed for a year. So, I mean, I don't think the number on the scale can really be accurate during that time,
Well,
right?
this is one of those ways that my mindset has changed. I
Mm-hmm.
don't own a scale. I don't
Mm-hmm.
track my weight.
Mm-hmm.
I feel great. My legs feel amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing things I'm doing things that I couldn't do a year ago. And this is going to sound negative, but it's really a
Mm-hmm.
positive. I'm
Okay.
already taking for granted things that I'm able to do. And it's
Okay.
already feeling natural to be able to move again, the way that I used to
Okay.
move.
Okay. And do you think that your legs feel like they used to? Like, can you remember that? Can you remember how they felt?
I
Yeah.
think they feel better.
Oh, good.
After the
I mean, they
last
should. I
surgery,
mean, actually, you bring up a good point. They should feel better,
they do.
right? I mean,
Yeah, they
because
do.
obviously it was developing all along, and probably had you not had that movement for so many years, you would have had a different experience,
Maybe.
you know. I
And
mean,
also my relationship to pain has also changed.
hmm
Like pain is your body's signal that something is wrong. When you're a
right,
dancer, pain is your signal that it's working.
right,
Like you just
right,
keep going. Pain is
right,
not
right.
it's
No pain,
something
no
that
gain. Right,
that is not something that you stop for, because there's always another dancer that'll come in and take that
right,
role.
right.
So you just keep going,
Work
and
through the pain. Right,
right, you dance through
right,
pain, dance through injury. And
right,
so my relationship to pain has changed, and I respect my pain now.
right.
I respect my pain. I acknowledge it, and I respect it, and I thank it
Yeah.
for what
The
it's telling
wisdom.
me. Yeah.
Right, right.
If that had not happened to me, if my lipedema had not progressed, if I
Yeah,
did not lose my ability to dance, I would probably still be in that marriage. It's
yeah,
like the world, the universe brings into your life the problems that are going to direct you into a path that's right
right.
for you. And even at the time when it was happening to me, I knew, I was like, okay, this is driving me to something. This is forcing me to see something I don't want to see. This is forcing me to change my life in a way that I really don't want to change my life. And it is such a strong message that it is taking dance from me,
Hmm.
my deepest love,
Yeah,
and my movement is my most deeply, intimately personal way I have of expressing myself. And
right.
for that to be taken away was like, okay, I need to listen to this. You
Right,
know,
right,
I can't just stay. So I knew that it was time to leave the marriage, and it was time to change my life, and it was time to, you know, really get courageous and really make big changes. And so I
right.
did. And so I
Amazing.
did. And yeah, I still have lipedema, but I love myself now and I put myself first.
Right, right. Which is, for many a different way of being, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes. Yes.
I think that that's a common. Well, what I found through my Instagram is that it is a commonality amongst many. It is not just somebody with lipedema. It is not just somebody who has had, you know, uh, you know, body struggles. It's rampant. It is rampant. Um, and it blows my mind. It really blows my mind
Do you mean
that,
what is rampant, that people don't accept themselves and don't love
yeah,
themselves and don't love their
correct,
bodies and
correct,
want
correct,
to keep punishing themselves for not being perfect?
correct. Yes, yes, yes. And my mantra is acceptance is key, right? And if we all, can you just imagine a world if we all embraced ourselves and where we're at, and then actually accepted ourselves, and then relished in our uniqueness? Could you imagine what a different world we would live in? I mean, especially like right now, given everything going on, can you just, I mean, that that that
I
is
I think acceptance,
it's
and I
amazing
think
to me.
acceptance of ourselves and others, and I also think
Hmm.
allowing ourselves and others to be who we are truly meant to be,
Exactly.
and
Because we're all
stop.
unique.
Yes,
Stop trying to put everybody in a hole.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, absolutely. That's, yeah.
exactly,
So that's my
exactly.
wish. That's my wish for the world, that everybody would embrace their uniqueness, and like, you can't just embrace yours. You got to embrace that everybody is unique, right? And everybody
Mm-hmm.
comes with their own gifts, and everybody comes with their own pitfalls. I mean, it's not, you know, um, but it's funny. My father when we used to ask him, what does he want for Christmas? And every year he would say he wants peace. Oh, this is funny. Check this out. He wants peace on earth. I bought this pillow for him one time
Mm.
for Christmas because he wanted peace on earth. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to give you, here's peace on earth. And he's passed away. And
I'm sorry.
yeah, now I would say for me that, like, your uniqueness is your superpower. Acceptance
Mm-hmm.
is key. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's just,
And we all, I think there's a Martha Graham quote. I wish I would have looked it up so that I could say it right now, but you have this unique expression that is only yours.
right,
And if you suppress that, then you deprive the world of something only you can give and
right,
only you can bring.
right,
So, yeah, so self-acceptance is, and you know, let's face it, at the end of the day, these bodies are just a vehicle for who we are.
right, right,
They're, you know, like we have these expectations for these bodies that they're, you know, that they need to be perfect, that they need to be amazing, they need to be beautiful, but you know, that
see,
is what it is. Like, you
yeah,
know,
and I've
they're just a vehicle for who we are, and you know, the relationship we have with that vehicle needs to, um, you know, I think it needs to be like a more caring and positive relationship, and not like this, you know, like beating it up and beating ourselves up for it not being, you know, something other than what it is. You know,
right,
like working together as a team.
Right. I would like to think, or I like to think that the other piece of that whole acceptance is that I get it gets me quite triggered, especially in our community, when women are talking about that, they'd like a perfect body. And I just want to like jump in the scream and shake them and be like, but guess what? Your body is perfect. Your body is perfect for you in this moment. That is that is perfection. Your body, you are perfect in that moment. And I don't know who ever came up with, well, I do know, but I don't know who ever came up with this idea that some other standard, whatever it is, however you want to see it, is perfect.
Hmm.
Um, and, that we should all subscribe to the fact that this is what's perfect. That's crazy. I mean, I'm not really sure how we collectively as a world, this is not a problem, you know, uh, unto women with lipedema. This is not a problem with women who are, plus size, which, really that is hilarious in itself. Like, why am I plus size? Like, how do you know that I'm plus? I mean,
Right.
in actuality, what's considered a plus size woman is actually an average woman. In the United States, 67% of women
Yeah.
are over size 16. That's not even counting the people that are size 12 and 14 that would qualify as a plus size model. That's
Well,
like,
not only
that's
that, but
insane.
you look tiny on top,
Well, of
like
course. Right. But, like, for everyone, like not having anything to do with me, just in
right,
general. I think that
right,
if women who were a size 16 or above were actually told that 67% of women were that size, they would be floored, absolutely floored. And then, in addition, the other insanity is that 18% of clothing manufactured for women is in a size 16 or above. So how is that even possible? How is it possible that 67% of us are okay with 18% of goods? That's insane. If you walk into a department store, the amount of clothing that they have for let's say they have a plus size department. Let's just take Macy's, for example. Macy's has a plus size department.
hmm
Maybe that plus size department, I don't even think it's this much, but maybe that takes up 18% of women's clothing in the store. It really should be flipped. The
it
plus
should
size
be.
should be the rest of the store, and that the plus department should really be for straight sizes. It's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating.
Well,
But it's
I mean,
really because,
it just goes to
wait,
show you the lo
you're gonna love this segue. It's really because we have all lived in so much shame for so long about that, we don't fit what we've been
right,
sold as perfect. That's
right.
bullshit. I mean,
That's
it's
right.
just, it is, and if you think about all of those 67% of women, there's probably, 99% of those women are brilliant and high achieving and doing,
Oh, of
amazing
course.
things. But yet, if you talk about this one little thing, they're a complete failure because they have to go to that little tiny place and they only have 5 pieces of clothing to choose from and blah, blah, blah.
Well, I mean, so many of us put that on ourselves, right? Too,
Well, I
that,
don't know that we put it on ourselves. I think that we've been driven to believe it.
right.
You know,
Um,
I,
but we
I don't.
have you and I have witnessed in some of the support groups around, around our condition that there are women that are, that put that on themselves. And What I want to say is that if you are going to address your lipedema from a position of appearance alone, of improving your appearance alone, you're gonna, you might be able to get it all sucked off of you, or work out or keto diet or, whatever, to you might be able to look better. But if you don't change, the way you think about yourself,
Right.
there's still a negative pattern that's going to manifest physically in your body.
Right. And how are you, right, how are you going to control that long term?
Right.
How is
So, like, it
that
doesn't
not
really,
going to come back?
that's right. It will come back, or it will cycle back, or it will harm you in another way.
Right. Right.
That's
It will
it's,
manifest another way. Right.
so this, I think that the emotional piece is
Huge.
key, and what you're talking about is a lot of it is, like, these are arbitrary standards that we're putting on ourselves, that you have to be a certain size. And if you're not, you're plus size. And if you're, or you're this, or one's better and the other's not. And that's not reality. That's a construct. And
Right.
it's validated by when you go to the store and how much stylish clothes are available for someone in your size, and how many stylish outfits are available for someone who is, more standard or smaller or whatever.
Right.
So, but these things are constructs. Our bodies are, the vehicle that we're riding around in on this earth, and they're not perfect, they're flawed, and they all look different.
Right. Right. I mean, exactly. I mean, it's
They all
so,
look different.
I mean, even within lipedema community, right? Yes, I am the classic shape. No question about it. I am
Hmm.
classic. However, and like you pointed out, you're small on top, and if somebody just saw me from, from the waist up, they would think that I was, you know, mainstream.
It would be
But
funny if we stood next to each other, because my legs are small now and my upper
yeah,
half is big. So you and I
yeah,
could probably, like, stand together and, like, fit right
right.
next to each other. Sorry, I just had to say that.
We could wear an
We're
outfit,
like
right?
opposites. We're like yin and yang.
Right, right. Yeah.
But you were saying, even within the lipedema community.
Even within the lipedema community, they're all shapes and sizes. It is
Right.
truly not something that is only from the waist down. It's just, I was having a conversation yesterday about how um, I have um, I have a C-section scar, and um, surrounding that scar, I have lipedema. And
Mm.
I didn't know that until Dr. Herbst pointed it out last year. And I
That
was
sounds
like,
painful.
yeah, it makes perfect sense that yeah, like, of course, like you had a trauma there, and so it grew there. And then I was having a conversation with, another piece of the conversation, and I realized that, I've had my gallbladder out, and there were incisions in my abdomen that, were for that surgery. And like, oh my goodness, that's really interesting. We don't have to end right now. Are you okay to go over?
No, I'm realizing something while you're saying this.
What?
I have this spot on my leg that didn't heal after surgery as fast as the rest of it.
Yeah.
That's the spot where I was hit with a lawn dart when I was little. It's like right in that same spot. And
Yeah.
so it's interesting what you're saying about where you've had incisions, and there's lipedema there and it's not healing.
And it's
So,
because the trauma that has been, to that area of the body. I
yes.
remember, talk about somatic healing. I remember I have a friend who, when we were in grade school, she got nailed with a tennis ball, like high speed, really
Mm.
bad, and it hit her in the breast, and she developed um, breast cancer in that exact spot in her breast.
Wow.
So talk
Wow.
about holding trauma and holding, um, yeah, it's like that's amazing,
Our
but we don't
bodies,
realize these connections. They're so wise. Our bodies are so wise.
yes, they are.
Um,
And they also they do a lot to protect us. And I think that
exactly.
I think that lipedema is, what is fat? It's stored energy.
Mhm.
And I think that it is our disease is the manifestation of a protective mechanism. It's a way that our bodies took care of us by protecting us from
Right,
something.
right.
And
You
and
know,
so
I think that, even going back to that whole, back to ancient times when, somebody shaped like me was going to be able to survive a famine, because, like we didn't know it, but that fat isn't going anywhere. So at some point, and if you think about, a ketogenic lifestyle or intermittent fasting, like, it takes a long time to actually access that. I think the other day I was on a webinar and I think they said, like, even in fasting for lipedema women is completely different um, timing as far as when you access, uh, the length that you have to stay in to actually access that. And I think it was like 72 hours,
yeah, I
where,
believe that. I mean, I've experienced that just in my own intermittent fasting practice, and just even my own eating disorders over the years, like when I was younger, just trying to lose weight and going to these extremes and not being able to. But I would love to listen
right,
to that webinar.
right. Yeah, I might have it. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Um, no, I think it was in one of the groups, and I don't know if it was saved. I'll have to find out.
That's okay.
Um, yeah, so yeah, I mean,
We
imagine if over all the years, like, imagine how much, uh, I think the thing to say to the younger gals who are learning about this and who are like, in their teens and finding out in their 20s, finding out they have this disease because they're seeing it on social media, whatever. I think that um, one of the things that Dr. Herbst just recently said is like, if you didn't diet, if you didn't diet and you just maintained your weight, you would be 900 times better off. Now, I've heard that always over the years, right? Like the yo-yo dieting is a problem.
It's
I
bad
always
for
thought
you.
I always thought yo-yo dieting was a problem for your heart. I thought that that was the biggest issue. Um, but she was talking about, imagine, if you could just stay a flat, if you could stay a flat overweight, because you're going to be, even the thinnest stage one girls, probably because the lipedema weighs more, actually show heavier on the scale.
Yeah.
Um, and so she was saying, if you can just hit a stride and stay constant and consistent, that would be your biggest benefit. And, you know, I
Wow.
I think, my God, if I had remained the size that I was when I was 16, when, I thought I was fat, um, holy cow, what a different life that would have been. I can't even
Yeah.
imagine what my life would have been. Just the mental energy alone.
That's what I was just
Um,
thinking. Just the
I mean,
emotional. like just the emotional processing of, I'm just thinking about how at that age, how much of my energy went to worrying about being overweight. Like
Right.
it was so constant. And,
Correct.
I could have, and I think at a certain point in my life, I just went, you know what? I have other things I need to think about today. I can't keep worrying about if I'm overweight. Just screw it, whatever. But yeah, when I just think about the amount of energy I could have saved thinking about it, worrying about it, trying to figure out what diet to do next, worried
Mm-hmm.
about cheating, worried about not cheating, worried about starving. Oh my God.
Right. Right. And I hadn't thought about this too, like the money. Like
Oh,
I could be like living in a palace in Dubai at this point because with the money that I have spent over the years on, a diet product, a therapist, trainer, a gym, um,
the next
clothes.
the products, the exercise things you bring
Yeah, yeah,
home, you think,
yeah,
oh, this is going to be the thing I'm going to do. Like that
yeah.
sliding. Remember that thing you slide
Books.
back and
Oh my
forth
God.
on?
Yeah. I
Or
mean, if
the
you could,
ab roller.
yeah, yeah.
Just,
Yeah,
just think
lucky
about all that stuff.
I can honestly say I did not get many gadgets. Like, I was not a gadget. I do have that funny story. I have that it's a relatively new thing. It looks like a concave skateboard thing that you stand on and then you twist. Which is funny, like
Uh-huh.
what in the hell was I worried about my waist? Because my waist was not, but I got this like it's really stupid, right? I mean, I got it
Just
for
funny.
Christmas in 2016, and I had still till this day have not used it because I got a concussion in November right before Christmas came.
Don't
So
tell
when
me
I
trying
got
to
it,
use it.
no, so when I got it, I had just gotten a bike. I had just won a bike in an auction in October. Then I got my concussion, so I didn't ride the bike because I didn't have a helmet. So I got my concussion in November, and then I got my helmet for Christmas. So I had this helmet and that concave twister thing, and like literally, like I posted that on my Facebook at the time, and all of my friends were like, "Do not get on that thing,
Oh
even
my
if
God.
you're wearing the helmet. Like, do not even think of it." And so I have
Oh my
yet to
God.
actually try to get on that thing. I saw it yesterday, and I was like, "Wonder if I could try that." And then I was like, "Yeah, never mind. Let's not get crazy." It's funny.
Yeah, I don't, well, the only gadget I have now is my vibration plate, and I love it. I
Mm-hmm.
love it. My
Oh, good.
vibration
I love
plate
it.
and weights. I lift weights on it, and I
Mm-hmm.
do yoga on it, and all
Do
kinds of.
you sit on the vibration plate?
I don't. I
So
work out on it.
I have a
I
recommendation. So
I saw
between
you
now,
sitting on it on
no,
your,
but
yeah.
between now and when you go for surgery, between now and when you leave, I mean, if it was me, I would bring it with me. But between now and when you leave, sit on it every day. So the back of because it's going to be the back of your thighs, right?
Yes, but I'm leaving in the morning, so and you can't use it
Okay,
for a
cool.
couple of weeks after surgery, so like 2 weeks. But
Okay, okay.
um, but
So
I am
I
taking my flex. I have a Flexa Touch also, and I'm taking that, and that is also has also been really helpful. But I will try sitting on it before I go.
So tonight, and then see how different the back of your thighs feel and how loose they are.
Okay,
It's amazing.
okay.
It's like crazy. I can't even tell you how. I mean, my legs right now are like, if I am not sitting on something, if I'm just like on the edge of a chair, my legs are completely dropped and you can actually see the outline of my leg. The only thing that's like bulging out is my knee and my hip because I have the big knee pad on the inside of my knee.
Yeah,
And my hip is, formed. It's crazy, crazy.
Well, I did see you pinching that the other day on your
Yeah,
I
it's
was
just like
and that does look good. I mean, you're doing all the things. You're doing
it's
great.
like
Doing really
crazy,
well.
crazy change. Yeah,
I
I'm
would,
gonna
but
try
you're
start
you're
doing
you're
some
not
additional
considering
things.
surgery, are you? Or
I'm always considering surgery every day.
you are okay, so
Yeah,
what
yeah.
would
I
be
mean the
great?
the
What
the
come
whatever.
with
I've
me to
had like, huh?
you should come with me to Dr. Bird's for one of
Yeah,
my surgeries.
and
Could
see how it goes.
accompany me and see what it's like and meet
Yeah,
her. She's
the
amazing.
the I have several complicating factors that are what really preclude me, but
Yeah.
it is fairly, Dr. Herbst, who does not, I mean, Dr. Eicher, the second that I saw her, well, I shouldn't say the second, I think it was a month that I treated with her with the pumps. And then she was like, yeah, okay, this is pointless. You just need to have surgery. So
The
go,
pump,
you
the manual
know.
lymphatic drainage was not effective before my surgery. It was not
Mhm.
effective on my
Well, which
lipedema
is,
because I
I
haven't
mean,
haven't really progressed to lymphedema yet. I still was in the
right.
lipedema
The
stage.
reality, exactly. So the reality is that I do not really have much of lymphedema. I mean, I may have swelling
Yeah.
from time to time and things like that, but I really don't. I mean, I've had a lymphoscintigraphy, I don't have it. And I think that those are the patients that really benefit
Yes.
from that. So I did not find, but she was like, listen, there's no regular fat left on your body. So
Yeah.
what are you even talking about? She's like, you need to go and have all of that removed because you have no idea how free your life will be. And so at the time is when I had my concussion. So I went and I talked to a couple of surgeons, and
Hmm.
it was not, for me, it was not the time. It was no way I was going under
Yeah.
anesthesia with concussion. There was no way, um, and, uh, because I have lost so much weight in the past, I think I have looser skin. And so then that was going to be a big, huge issue as well.
Hmm.
Um, and, um, for me, I see it as, uh, I view it as very traumatic. I view it as very traumatic for my body. And so I'm not, I'm not there. I don't have the mind frame. I think that if you're going to go into it, you have to have the right mind frame. You cannot have any second guesses about, am I doing the right thing?
I
And
mean, no,
so,
I mean, when I found out like what I had and how it was treated, I was like, sign me up. I
right.
want it
So
off.
you did
Because
exactly.
because mine was like
And
it was such a sudden change and it just completely disrupted my lifestyle. My
right,
completely. I mean, before I was having lipedema, I was teaching dance and yoga 5 or 6 times a day and and then going and taking a Bikram yoga class at night to relax. Like that was my life. And so I was just like, get it off, and that's I think that you have to feel that way. You have
exactly.
to, you have to be ready to do, like for me, it's been a lot of deep emotional work and
Right.
soul searching about what I am doing to contribute to this disease progressing and what's, my emotional needs that I need to address
Right.
because, mine was set off by cortisol cascade. So that
Right.
can happen again if I just, if I am going to allow things in my personal life to overrun my emotions again. I need to learn how to deal with that.
Right. Right.
But you're
Yeah.
you're you're right, and it is
Yeah.
traumatic, but for me, it hasn't been. Like physically, it hasn't been as difficult as I thought it would be because it just feels so much better when it's
Right.
immediately
And
after having it.
I believe that that is mindset driven.
Yes.
I believe that somebody who goes into it with a little hint of concern doesn't have that same experience.
Or if they're going into it with the expectation that they're going to come out looking perfect, and that it's, if it's mainly about appearance,
Right.
then you're going to be disappointed because, I mean, my legs are polka dotted with scars now, you know. I don't know. Can you see it? It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
look perfect. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
It just
Yeah.
doesn't.
So,
And I'm good. I wear compression. I'm good. I do all the things, but it's not, it's not perfection by any
I,
means.
for me, I'm not convinced that it's not the right thing to do, and I don't eventually need to do it.
Hmm.
So, there's that. I am still involved. Like, actually, yesterday I came up with a whole nother treatment plan for conservative things that were kind of thrown out there, and now I'm going to try those. Um, so it's been very encouraging, doing what I've been doing during lockdown to have this change in the fluidity, the fibrosis.
Yeah.
Um, but, talk about looks. Yeah, no, like I prefer the look of the brick house leg than the loose floppy leg. I'm like, oh
Yeah, I
my
hear
God,
you.
this is even ugh. I happen to I'm a Libra, so I'm very aesthetic. I like beautiful things. And
Yeah.
in my opinion, I like the look of a smooth leg. It can be really big, but or really, I think I've gotten away from the skinny, like I used to think you can never be too thin or too rich. I've moved on from that. That doesn't appeal to me anymore. I was used to somebody and go, oh my God, look at how skinny. Whereas before I would have been like, wow, that's perfect. Before I had when I thought that that was perfect. Um, I've had my change. I think it was December of 2016. I remember seeing the advertisement for the Victoria's Secret model show, and I was like, "Oh my God, those women are so thin." And I was like, "Holy cow, who am I? Like, I am a new person. I am completely changed. How is it that I finally have come to that conclusion?" So I was very proud. But so I don't like the one of the gals posted her leg laying like just out on a couch or on a bed or something, and it looks so perfect, so beautiful, so amazing. And then we were all talking about how when it's just laying there, it looks smooth. And my God, if it could only look like that all the time. And so I really resonate with that one. I don't like any pictures that you know, I can see that I'm standing and it's hanging and it's sagging and it's all of that. And I used to think it was because of all the weight I had lost, which certainly contributes to it. But it is also because of the lumpy, bumpy stage of, lipedema. And you know, there's no getting around lobules and fibrosis and, you know, um, all of that. And so, we'll see. There's a couple of things that I'm going to start trying now that maybe will affect skin retraction. I have learned that sometimes you can, if you affect skin retraction as you're losing. So as I was losing 220 pounds, had I been implementing these strategies, like even dry brushing during that time, I would likely have had more skin retraction then. I would have now going forward. So I don't know.
Okay.
I'm holding out, I'm holding out hope. I'm holding out, miracles, whatever. I don't
I
know.
just I just
Um,
want to say to you and to any woman with lipedema watching this and anybody really that I support your choices. And just because I've had surgery doesn't mean that surgery is the right answer for every woman with lipedema. I think we're all different and we all need to have our own path and how we deal with it. So I support all your choices and I support,
yeah,
what you're doing. And I'm also really proud of you, like the way that you're putting yourself out there and you're really committed to your body and your self-care and your mental state, the preservation of your mental state, positivity, and helping to bring others along into a positive place and a healthy mindset about who they are, whether they're someone with lipedema or just someone.
right. Yeah. I mean, it is, I am finding that my platform is very relational, I guess would
Mm-hmm.
be the thing. It's not, there's really not somebody who couldn't hear the message,
Mm-hmm.
I always say that, anytime I put up a picture of myself now that actually, shows my body and shows, how different it is
Mm-hmm.
and um, I have a friend who her tagline is normalize different. And I'm
Mm.
so there because, we can't know that these different bodies exist if we don't see them. And
Mm-hmm.
so, um, if there's somebody who could now walk down the street and be like, "Oh, I saw that girl on Instagram," and now they think twice about judging that person they saw on the street,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be great. And if I can be any kind of I don't, what's the word? Not support, but um, oh, I can't. I'm totally
Inspiration.
sure. If I can be any kind of
Mm-hmm.
inspiration to somebody who is tiny, 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 size 0, doesn't have lipedema, and they go, "Oh my God, look at that. I'm going to do whatever I have to do not to get to look like that." Great. If there's somebody who is way bigger and says, "Oh my God, she says that she's lost weight. Maybe I could lose weight too." Great, fantastic. If there's some other, the lipedema women, um, I don't, I'm not sure if I want to think the early stage, I might have just had an aha moment. I think I might think that the early stage girls are a little bit more early into their head game
Mm.
because they're they're not the mainstream ideal, but they're not the plus size concern either. So actually, it's funny. I just saw a woman on TikTok who does not have lipedema, um, who, well, she doesn't appear in any way to have lipedema. Who knows? But she doesn't look like she has it in any area. Um, she was saying she was a size 12, 14. No, she's a size 14, 16. And she didn't look like she was a size 14, 16, or my idea of what that looks like either. But in any case, and she's like, where do I fit in? I don't fit in with the mainstream girls because I'm bigger than them. And I don't fit in with the plus size girls because I'm too small for them, even though I'm at the, bottom size of a plus size chart. So where do I fit? I have no group to fall into. And I think maybe those early lipedema girls feel that way because they look at what it says on the size on their scale. And that, like we said, always weighs heavier. So,
So much heavier.
you know, so there's that. Um, and I think Dr. Herbst was talking about that the other day about how much fluid is actually in the lipedema tissue. And that's where that comes from. Um,
Well, I
but
believe it because, like they said, they took a bunch of fat off of me, and it was like taking bags of feathers. Those are the exact words she used.
yeah,
It's like bags of feathers. So whatever fluid was in there must have, it's still somewhere in my body. It
it's
went somewhere else. I don't know. Or I just, whatever lipedema is left absorbed fluid. I don't know. I don't understand how that works. But anyways, I'm sorry. I interrupted
yeah,
you.
it's all
You
good.
were talking about the young girls,
Yeah,
the
so I
the
think,
the
I think
in-betweeners.
yeah, so I think that it's you know, maybe the head game is kind of really, strong. So if I can be of any inspiration to them to be like, okay, let me make sure I'm on my movement game, maybe make sure that I'm on whatever clean eating works for me. We learned the other day again from Dr. Herbst that for anything, fat thrives in inflammation. And so, okay, and if it's lipedema fat, it's even more, greedy. So it is a perfect environment. And so whatever you have to do to reduce your inflammation, just do it. And if it means that you have to go do somatic work because your cortisol levels are through the roof and you need to, you know, get over the fact that you fell off the playground bar when you were, two onto your hip and now you have a really big hip. I mean, whatever it is, I mean, it's like
Right.
so
Or
mired,
just,
right?
like dealing with emotions and not allowing them to control or damage you physically. You
Right,
know,
right,
those are emotional states and stress.
yeah,
Eventually, they're going to land in our body. So,
right,
that's what somatic work can
right,
address that. How this, how this stress, dealing with the trauma that's in the body, emotional trauma and physical trauma. But
so
yeah,
that segues perfectly into a little known fact that we didn't talk about yet, which is one of the things that you started doing when you couldn't dance on a regular basis is to
actually,
control
I've
or did
actually
you
I've
always do
been. You're talking about knitting and crochet, but I've actually been doing that my entire life.
it?
And
Okay.
since I
But
was seven,
was that a stress reliever for you?
it is, it, it's a mindfulness practice. It's something I do every day. I crochet or knit every day, and I have, I have a viral pattern out there, and I'm kind of, and it's pretty well known. It's called the 6 Day Kid Blanket by Betty McKnitt. That's my crochet
Betty,
designer
oh
name, Betty
my God,
McKnitt.
that's
It's so
so
much like my real name,
cute.
Beth McKee Elliott, right? Betty McKnitt.
Oh my God,
Um,
that's awesome.
and I have a whole community of followers, and that community has really been a big part of my healing journey.
Yeah,
And also the handwork and just being able to sit and do something with my hands and and I make blankets. My viral pattern is a blanket, so I make blankets, and when I'm making them, I think loving thoughts, positive thoughts about whoever is going to be wrapped up in that blanket. And when I make a mistake, I don't beat myself up. I just rip it out. Yarn is very forgiving. And I say, mistakes are part of life. It's okay. We learn
so
from our
good.
mistakes. And I just keep going. And,
Right.
I put, so it's, I bring the energy and the positivity into whatever I do. But that handwork is a mindfulness practice for me, and it's been something that's been there for me my entire life, from
Nice.
My aunts were, my old aunts, my dad's mom and her sisters were always knitting and crocheting, so I've been around it my entire life. It's
Who
just,
taught you?
like
Oh,
ingrained.
yeah.
My mother taught me, and yeah, I kind of learned by watching them, and then
Yeah,
they guided me a little bit, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I can't. My aunt used to knit, and my mother did not. My mother sewed because she had to, alter all of her clothes because
Yeah, my mom did that too.
she had the same shape as I do, or I have the same shape as she did.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
but no, I have never had like the fine dexterity skills like that. That would not be my cup of tea. Um, because yeah, and I don't sit still that long. So I mean,
We
um,
all learned, all my sisters and I learned how to do it, but I don't know, it stuck with me somehow. And
okay, I
I've always
have to
been
tell you
kind
this because the whole time. So the you've always been what? You went out at that second.
I've always been really creative, so and
Yeah.
kind of weird. So like
Oh,
we
that's
all
not
learned how to knit and
bad.
crochet, but it seems like it only stuck with me and not the rest of my sisters, but
Um, okay, so the chair that you're sitting in, the pattern that is on it is reminding me of the leggings that I had on my Wednesday workout. That's all I can think of. I'm like, oh, here's my leggings on her chair. Oh,
I'll go sit in my other chair where I have one of my crochet
on the blanket.
designs.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So tell us, what is the Facebook group? Oh,
Um,
pretty.
you can find Betty McKnitt on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel for her.
Okay.
And the crochet group is the 6 Day Kid Blanket. Um, it's just a group about that one pattern. We help
Oh,
people
okay.
crochet that one pattern. So
Okay. So that's what it's
yeah,
called. The actual Facebook group is called that.
It's called the 6 Day Kid Blanket. Hmm. But yeah, you
Okay.
can find Betty McKnitt all over the place. Pinterest,
That's
Instagram,
awesome.
YouTube.
Wow.
She has all the social media.
That's
And
great.
and I'm pretty sure that I have in my in my bio for my Instagram, I have my Somatic Healing
Yeah.
um links to my Somatic Healing site and um the groups, the Facebook groups that we mentioned, and also my medical fundraiser for my surgery for the out-of-pocket expenses. And I'm still about $20,000 in the hole
Yeah.
for out of pocket. The travel costs, the co-pays, and whatever my insurance does not pay.
Yeah.
It's quite significant. So
Yeah.
yeah, so those things are all linked if anyone's interested.
Yeah. Cool. I finally put a Cash App, I think on Thursday. I've been asked that for an entire year. What's my Cash App? And I finally put it the other day because last Thursday was an International Lipedema Awareness Day.
Oh, there's an international
Mhm.
day. Okay.
And so I put it up because I was going to contribute to the international fund or whatever if
Hmm.
somebody donated to my Cash App. And not a one donation. It was pretty funny. I was like, okay, well, I can see this is going to go well. So I thought, well, if I ever, do go forward with surgery, perhaps that would, I know that that's a thing. Perhaps that would be something that I would do as well. And so, anyway, I just laughed. Oh, look at this. We're getting timed out. So thank you so much, Beth, for our conversation. We made
Thanks
it
for
work.
having me.
Glad that we
Thanks.
retried it. Thanks everybody who joined in and listened, and leave us any questions if you have them. And I'll see you guys again. Monday is with You Wanna Fit. So I believe it's going to be 1 p.m. Here in California.